Hello, welcome to another episode of Swapping Joysticks. I'm your host, Ben Ostwick, otherwise known as Big as Bennis, and joining me, as always, is her indoors.
Oh, this joke again.
Nightingale.
That's me.
Yeah, that is you. We are going to be talking about all things. We're going to talk about some Kingdom Hearts. We're going to talk about some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You're going to talk a lot about what?
Elden Ring.
Oh, Shadow of the
Erdtree.
Erdtree. And we're also going to look at, we're going to look back at the Nintendo Direct, which made you very erect.
Hey, it did. I was very happy.
Excellent.
Very happy indeed.
But first, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
We went to see Girls Aloud last weekend.
Oh God, we did. Yeah, that was
fun. It was a very northern night out.
Yeah, I nearly had a fight.
You did? With a lady on her birthday.
Yeah, this sounds very bad now, but no, we were queuing up, and the queues for drinks were just massive. They literally went to the back wall, and so I was on the side one, like the side queue, but there was like a pillar in the way, so I kind of stood to the side of the pillar because I can't morph myself into it. And then these two girls came up and they were like, "Oh, where's the back of the queue?" And I'm like, "It's here." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. It's all the way back here." And she's like, "Ah, no worries, no worries." And then like stood next to me, like at my side.
Mm.
Oh, well, no, they stood at the other side of the pillar. And then as we got forward a little bit, they kind of just continued to stand right next to me. And it was literally about 30 minutes of queuing. It went on forever.
That's ridiculous.
Because
just for a drink.
Yeah, just for a drink. The queues were, I think they had a problem with they didn't take tap. So you couldn't tap. You had to have your card. Luckily, I had my card on me. But yeah, you couldn't use your card. And also, they didn't take cash. So it was just it was very, very slow. And I think there was like one pin terminal per like 3. So it was going incredibly slowly. And the people behind the bar were a little bit like, they weren't really in a rush. So by the time we got to the front, they tried to get served first before me. And I was like,
no.
I was like, "I'm next." And they're like, "No, you're not." She was from Liverpool. No, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I am. You asked me where the back of the queue was. Like, no, it didn't. I'm like, yes, you did. And I think her friend might have clocked it a bit because she was like, "Oh, don't." And then she said, "Oh, you're pushing in. You wouldn't say this to me if I was a big man, would you?" And I'm like, "I would say it to anybody. You pushed in." Yeah. And she's like, "No, I didn't." And then there's like looking around trying to get other people like on her side. And I was like, just admit wrong. Why does nobody admit they're wrong these days?
No one's ever wrong,
No,
Ben.
it's just, it pissed me off so much.
Have you not been on the internet in the last 20 years?
I got so angry because she was like really raising her voice and like being really like confrontational, like really confrontational. And a friend was like, "Oh, just leave him alone. It's his birthday."
It's her birthday.
Yeah, it's your birthday. Sorry, it's your birthday. And then like she kind of elbowed me a little bit when she moved out of the way, like properly. Yeah, dug her elbow in a bit when I was trying to get past to pay. Really horrible person. But
nasty.
Yeah, I just thought you've probably got a really horrible life, and it made me feel better. So, but then I went there, and obviously my card didn't work.
Of course not,
because it was down for some reason. It just kept getting declined, even though like nothing wrong with it. So I was like, oh, I didn't really want to. Well. They tried it about 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, it's literally fine. I've just gone and bought a drink in that pub we had earlier. And yeah. And then I was calling you because I'm like, you've got a card.
I had no signal. I said this before.
You did have a signal because then you looked at your phone and there were 6 missed calls.
Well, yeah, but I was scrolling earlier thinking, okay, so meanwhile, I'm sat in our seats in the arena and there are 2 drunk girls in front of me, like dancing away to the DJ set, pointing at me, trying to get me involved. And I'm like, I'm not getting involved. And the girl next to me was sort of laughing and we were joking about it. And then her friend came back from the toilet and she was like, "Oh, we're bonding over our trauma." So it was fun. But I was checking my phone.
Yeah, no, I saw you've been online like 3 minutes before on WhatsApp. I was like, oh, so he has got his phone.
Because I checked my phone to see if I had any messages or anything, and like Twitter wouldn't load. WhatsApp was like saying connecting, so I was like, oh, it's obviously not connecting. I've got no signal.
But when you can call somebody, it's different. It's not the internet when you call somebody. Like you can call somebody with 0 internet.
I mean, I know that because it's just phone signal.
So anyway, but I was really, really annoyed. And then I was like, oh, I don't even know because I had my credit card on me, but I don't know the PIN for it because I never use it. So I had to like go on the phone with the shitty signal trying to find out the pin for that. Found the pin. That didn't work either for some reason. I think it's because I'd never used it, maybe. I don't know. But then, so I had to kind of go back to my seat, and I was like, I'm so pissed off because obviously when it didn't work, the asshole next to me got served and obviously went through fine.
Of course.
I tripped over and spilt a drink. Anyway,
her 2-pint cup of lager.
No, I don't know what she got, but
probably an entire bottle of rosé with a plastic cup.
I generally think it was 2 bottles of rosé.
There you
go. Genuinely 2 bottles.
I called
of rosé.
it.
So anyway, I decided then. So I went back to the seat, really pissed off, like really genuinely fuming. And Girls Lad came on, didn't clap, I didn't sing, I just stood there. And then like the third song came on, I'm like, right, I'm going to the bar now because I had, I took yours. I took your card.
You missed an amazing song.
No, I didn't. So I took it.
I want is something
new. Overplayed. But I went. What? So I went down to the bar with your card. But I went to a different pin terminal, and I was like, "Oh, let me just try mine again." Obviously, worked perfectly. There was no queue as well, actually. So I should have probably just waited for them because we get 0 queue. The person behind the bar we had a good chat with, was just incredibly friendly and nice, and I ended up buying, because the thing is, I was going to buy a bottle of wine for us, but it was £34.
What?
I know. So
Jesus.
Instead, I spent...
And this is Leeds prices.
Yeah. So instead, I spent £17 on a 2-pint mega cup of lager, and then I went and got another one about halfway through. And so the last 5 songs, I was in my element. I was loving it.
Oh, yeah. You were pissed by the end.
I needed to.
You had a great time.
The last 5 songs I loved.
I loved it as well. I didn't drink much alcohol.
How can you enjoy some mediocre singers with no alcohol?
Because I still like the songs. I can still have a dance.
It's like it's like a nice selection of 7 out of 10 and 8 out of 10 songs, not sung particularly well, but you've got good memories attached to them. Well,
yeah, and the only one who can still sing is Nadine. Nadine.
No, sorry, sorry everyone.
Lawyer and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Was it?
Points.
No, was it baking and stuff? I can't say baking. Working with Flyer. Anyway, she's the only one who can actually perform.
Gary's no longer going to be listening to us. Sorry, Gary.
Sorry to Northern Ireland. Our girl from Derry.
No, please stop.
She's the only one who can perform. She has actual performance level.
Yeah.
And she can still sing. The others cannot. So she was carrying it. But also it was her birthday that night. So there were a lot of jokes about date of birth and passport.
I didn't realise what that was from because I can't remember. But she was in. She got kicked out of Pop Stars Island because she lied about her age.
She lied about her age, and I think she pretended she couldn't find a passport or something, and then was saying I'm a Gemini, to try and get her stuff on to prove when she was born, and it was a whole thing. So now it's a meme. Hence why Cheryl was like, I heard she's a Gemini.
But the people in front, the two that were wasted, and I thought they were great because they were standing up the entire time.
They were drunk, but also just having a good time.
So they were great, but they were drunk. But they were everybody was standing up, and I like that when everybody's standing up. Well, there wasn't somebody tapping you to sit down.
Yeah, there's a guy behind me tapping me, being like, "Can you sit down? Can you move?" And I was like, "No," because then I can't see.
Poor guy was disabled, didn't see a thing.
Don't say that.
He wasn't. No, you didn't know though.
Wow.
Well, no, I imagine they'd have accessible seats for people with disabilities, but
also they left.
They left, yeah,
before the encore, and I'm like,
they'd had enough.
They sang their last song, and the lights go down, and it's like, firstly, we all know there's going to be an encore. Secondly, they haven't sung The Promise yet, so come on, we all know that's coming.
You don't like that though, do you?
No, it's a terrible song.
Well, maybe he knew that was coming on, and was
was like, yeah, I've had enough.
I quite like that song though.
No. What? Okay, so what was your favorite song?
Sound of the Underground is always my favorite.
Yeah,
but
classic.
I actually really liked Girl Overboard.
Which one was that? I actually can't remember how that goes.
So that one was the one that I didn't expect to Girl overboard on the boat. Oopsie daisy, throw the rubber ring. Yeah, that one. Sure. I'm pretty sure that's her. Let me find. Here we go. That's it. You know this one?
I'll know it when the chorus comes.
This bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good one. Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
That
okay.
one. That one's great.
That was good.
But yeah, no, but I hadn't really heard. I think I had heard it, but it'd been so long in my head. I was like, "Oh, this sounds new." But I was like, "Oh, I really like it."
Yeah, there
though.
were a few sort of slightly lesser known ones. The Show is my favourite.
Which was the one that was so bad that everybody left for a drink? There's one that nobody knew, and like everybody just flooded.
It was no, wasn't it? Wasn't it the first ballad?
Well, maybe.
Which was Whole Lot of History, which was basically we've been through a lot of history, and then they dedicated it to Sarah, and then loads of people left.
Rude. How rude.
Other stuff was also dedicated to Sarah, which was
yeah,
lovely.
it was a nice kind of thing that they had running through the show. It wasn't just like, here's our Sarah song. It's like, no, she was there.
Yeah, she was there throughout in spirit.
She was the only one that
great.
sang in tune.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her and well, Nadine kind of. The
Mostly.
others. Yeah, at work they were like, because a few of them are going. A few of my work colleagues are going at the weekend because I think they're in Wembley.
Yeah,
this week, and I think going into next week as well, like Wednesday.
Right.
And they're like, oh, how was it? Did they sing well? And I was like, when they were singing together, they were
With the backing track that was very loud.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was. There was no fight for this love though.
No. Like Cheryl was barely in it, and I was like, can she just have a solo moment to sing Fight for This Love?
No.
And then we can go home.
We did get it at Queen's Court afterwards though, didn't we?
We went out for some drinks
Oh, yeah,
in the gay quarter.
Yeah, and there was the really rude drag queen that was funny.
She was great.
Yeah. No nonsense Yorkshire drag queen.
Yeah. She
Very
was like, you've had enough girls allowed, fuck off.
Yeah, it's like, thank fuck for that. Like, yeah, it was great. Yeah, and then we got approached by a drug dealer outside who was, or not drug dealer, just a user.
A user who was very interested in more and wanted to chat with us, and then invited us along. And your response was, "No, my mum's picking us up."
Was I lying? Was I lying?
You were not, but also.
Also, we found out he lives in the same town as us, or city as us in.
Let's not go there.
Well, yeah, not say where it was, but like also live very. Yeah,
probably close. No, the fact that we're like two guys in our 30s, like, sorry, my mum's picking me up.
Yeah. Oh, and then I got angry in Wendy's. Was it Wendy's?
Yes, we went to Wendy's, but then they wouldn't let us sit down.
Well, the option on the thing was like, are you going to eat in or take it out? So I said eat in, and then as I was picking it up, they closed that off. But there were still people in there, so I tried to sneak in. And there's like no. And then as I was waiting for you, I dared to put my bag down, and he was like following me around, being like, "How dare you?" It's like, "Oh, piss off." Oh, fucking mini Hitler.
So we had a lovely time in Leeds. Well, welcome to the north, I guess.
Oh no, it's great. Have a couple of fights, and
It's really great.
yeah, that's all you want. Just have a couple of fights.
Yeah, we watched some football.
Yeah,
because the Euros are on.
Yeah.
If
Anyway,
people are into that.
No, they're not. Let's definitely not talk about that.
No, let's.
But you were playing some game. You were playing a game over there, weren't you? When we were up north, because you didn't like the company of my parents, so you were playing on your Switch.
I played it a bit on the train, and when I first woke up in the morning,
yeah,
that was it. There's a little bit of Final Fantasy V, which I still haven't finished, and I will at some point. But yeah, we'll talk about that another time when I finish it.
Yeah,
because it's average.
Well, let's talk about the thing that everybody wants to know, which is, what is Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree?
The Erdtree.
Like, what's it about? I heard the story is really obvious.
Okay, well, I'm not going to give you any any story spoilers. I'm not going to tell about bosses. This will be spoiler free. But it's really good. It's really good. I haven't finished it yet, so this isn't a sort of complete opinion or review. It's just where I'm at with it now. I will start by saying that there is a great update for everybody, which is out now.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds a new feature, which you have to activate in the menu. And it includes a new tab in your inventory for recent items.
Oh, the best
and
thing
it
ever.
is literally a game changer. It's the best thing that's ever happened to Elden Ring. Because the number of times I've picked up a new weapon and it's got a weird name, and you're like, is that a sword? Is that a great sword? Is that a staff? Like, what is that? And then you can't find it in your inventory because you can't sort it. Or you find like a key item and you're like, where is that? What was that? Or a crafting material. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Now there's a new tab, and it just puts it all there, so you can just see what you've just collected. And there's another option that adds an exclamation mark next to anything that's new. So if you're then, say, looking through all of your weapons, you've got an exclamation mark to point out the new things. It's literally a game changer. And it sounds really boring.
Should it have been in there from the beginning?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
It sounds like a really boring addition, but genuinely, if you've played Elden Ring, you'll know your inventory is like a black hole. And so having that tab there, you're immediately like, right, I can see that and I know what it is and I can look at the description to understand the lore and whatever else. And with the DLC, you're getting so much more new loot, be that gear, weapons, armors, spells, materials. There's loads of new stuff. So it's really good to then have that in a tab that you can just see immediately. So, like I say, this update is for everyone. So go to the display tab in the menu and turn it on because it is necessary. Very much necessary.
Oh, well, that sounds like a brilliant expansion.
Yeah, that's all they've done. No, there is an entire new game. It's
whole game in
massive.
there, yeah?
It is absolutely massive. You access it after beating a couple of bosses in the main game, one of which is quite late on. I know you haven't got that far yet. So it's quite a late boss. And then from there, you can access the DLC. And it is an entire new world called the Land of Shadow.
Ooh.
And I guess my one vague spoiler for what the story is, you are following in the footsteps of Miquella. And Miquella is Melania's twin brother.
Have I met him?
No.
Wow.
Because he's only in the lore of the original game.
Oh, he's not actually a boss.
He's not in the base game.
Oh, so he's in the other game.
Well, I will say no more. So you are basically following his footsteps into the Land of Shadow. And what I love about it is that it has this kind of almost post-apocalyptic feel to it. In that, if you've seen the story trailer, you'll know that a big battle and war has taken place in this world. And as you enter it, you're in this huge plain that looks very sort of autumnal. And there are graves everywhere, like ghostly graves everywhere. Almost all the enemies you kill are sort of shadows.
Oh, they're the annoying things that you have to kind of destroy the second time once you've killed it. Like those skeleton things.
No.
Thank God.
Thankfully. It's just lots of ghosts, basically. But it gives you that feeling of a war has just happened or a big battle has happened. Like you're on this battlefield with all these graves and you've arrived just afterwards to try and find out what the hell has just happened. And I love that about it. It all the way throughout, it has this look and feel that is like you're in a Renaissance painting. It's just, it's stunning. And that's like the original game as well. I will say on a base level, it still plays like the base game. The combat is just as good. The visuals, the sound, the design, all that sort of stuff is just as good as the base game. So if you love the base game, this is more of that. And that's incredible. Like you can jump in, have an amazing time. I was going to say something else.
However,
there is a but coming, and I'll get to that in a minute. The level design.
yes.
I really like the new level design. I say new. When I interviewed Miyazaki a few months ago.
Have you got to the swamp, the poison swamp yet?
No, there is a poison swamp.
Do you know where it is?
I've seen it in a trailer.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but I haven't got to it. Wait, no, I've seen poison bits. I've seen poison. I've definitely seen poison.
Oh wow.
So the level design, when I interviewed Miyazaki, he talked about in the DLC them trying to blend and blur the boundaries between these sort of open field areas and the legacy dungeons. So like Stormvale Castle, for instance. And I think playing through the base game of Elden Ring, you do get that sense of here's a big open field and now here's a dungeon that they've just plonked in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And it feels a lot more integrated now. The map is huge in Shadow of the Erdtree. It's smaller than the base game, but it's huge. But the legacy dungeons feel a little bit more integrated. So, for instance, there is a huge castle that I've got to.
Is that the one that you've just done?
Yeah, that I've been going through, and there are multiple entrances and exits that take you in different directions, different ways of approaching it, and there are so many layers to this one castle. So in itself, it's a huge area, but it feels like it's integrated into the world a little bit more. So I really like that. So that's one sort of advancement, I guess, with it. Now, my butt is coming.
That ain't
I think that the DLC is fundamentally flawed.
Oh dear.
Now, it doesn't...
3 out of 5?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't... Too soon. It doesn't change... I don't think it's a bad game at all. I think it's fucking brilliant.
I don't think that Elden Ring is a bad game,
no.
says Ed.
Wow. I
Wow.
think the DLC specifically, I think is fucking brilliant, and I love it. I think it's flawed as an experience because I think it has a difficulty problem, and I think it has... or a difficulty balance problem, and I think it has a progression problem. So what I mean by that is almost every enemy that I have killed has either been too easy or too hard. For me, it hasn't quite hit the sweet spot of a nice difficulty. No, don't get me wrong, difficulty is different for everyone, of course. But the majority of basic enemies I've killed in one hit. And then there'll be some random enemy that's incredibly difficult to kill and will kill me in one hit that comes out of nowhere. Now, FromSoft like to use difficulty to sort of gate areas and steer you. So the base game, there's the gold knight at the very beginning on the horse that everyone runs up to and dies immediately. And that is them trying to teach you, you can run away. You don't have to fight everything. Yeah. You can come back to things later.
It was a good lesson.
Yes, exactly. And it teaches you through that. And there are still moments like that in the DLC. No spoilers, but there are big things that will kill you. But I just found that sometimes on the critical path, say, there will be an enemy that's incredibly difficult out of nowhere. But then you get to a boss, and the boss is really easy. A lot of, like, the first couple of bosses I killed first time. And I didn't want to. Like, I want the challenge. I want to...
I don't know. I hear you squealing. You definitely want to beat them. You don't like losing.
No, I don't. But, like, give me a couple of goes to maybe learn the move and feel like I've achieved something.
I'm a little bit like that because I'm currently doing my Elden Ring playthrough and I'm finding that I'm squashing quite a few enemies because I'm doing lots of other stuff. I'm trying to do it all.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit over-leveled for pretty much every boss I'm fighting. One of my the two most memorable for me were Radahn and also that annoying thing in the crater, the bull type thing in that crater.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Because that one, it killed me immediately very quickly and I was like, I need to come back for this. And I did come back to it and it was still really tricky, but it felt achievable.
Yes.
And so like 4th or 5th time I managed to get it and I was shaking. Like the last 10% of that I was shaking.
That's the Souls bug, Ben.
But that's,
You've got it.
I know, but that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And when you then see a really cool boss and you're like, oh, this is going to be a really cool battle. And it is cool, but you also do it first time. And I'm not saying that to be like, I'm amazing. I'm just saying...
you are.
I mean, I am. But to give you a sense of what level I am, this is me continuing the game from my first playthrough where I have finished it. Not done New Game Plus. I'm just still on the first level. I think I was level 169. Nice. So that's the kind of level that I'm at.
Yeah, and I read that it's like 130 to 150 to enter.
Probably,
like,
yeah.
That's what they recommend.
Yeah. So because of that, like, yes, I'm a high level and I've done a lot and I've got good gear and all of that sort of stuff. It just feels like the difficulty's a bit erratic and it's not giving you a nice learning curve. So it's not necessarily... And I've heard that there are places and bosses later that are so difficult. And I haven't necessarily experienced that yet. But there have been some odd spikes. And for me, it's not necessarily a case of it's too hard. It's just that it's erratic and it's not giving you a nice, smooth difficulty curve. And I feel like it's sort of an impossible task for them to do that because everyone's going to be coming at this from different levels. Some people like me will have finished it. Some people will have just scraped the boss that's necessary and got through. Some people will be on New Game Plus 7 or whatever and will be coming to it. And so... it's impossible, really, for them to give you the right difficulty that is right for everybody. So it's hard for them to pitch that. And I feel like it's an impossible task for them to do that. So I'm not going to hold it against them.
So the way that you're scaling, it doesn't it give you an item that helps you like scale or something, so that people that are level 200 are not gonna wipe the floor compared to the one that's in like level 90? Isn't there something that's kind of scales it a bit?
Well, there's a new progression system in the DLC, if that's what you
Can you explain that? Because I have no idea.
Okay.
Can you explain it in less than 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
So
you did try and explain it to me the other day, and I turned off after a bit because I wasn't quite sure what you were talking about.
Oh, it's simple. Don't worry.
Okay.
And this for me is the other flaw is the sense of progression, which ties into that difficulty. So there are 2 new items that you collect in this world: Scadu tree fragments, and I think the Scadu tree is basically the new Erdtree in the realm of Shadow. And you collect these fragments, and the first time it costs 1, the next time it costs 2, and it goes up. And you use these fragments at a site of grace to give you a boost to your attack and defense.
Okay.
There is an equivalent fragment, and I can't remember what it's called. It's called like a reverent spirit fragment or something, which essentially does the same thing, but for your spirit summons, so like your mimic or whatever else. And that is your main way of leveling up. So you still get runes, you still level up, etc. But for me, for instance, even from level 169, it cost me over 200,000 runes to level up. And then when you do, you get like 1 extra point in a stat that doesn't really do a lot by that point.
Yeah.
So you're therefore relying on these new fragments to give you that boost, but the boost is tiny. Like, it's not really noticeable. I think once you get to the end of the DLC and you've collected a lot of them, if you then go back to the beginning area, maybe you'll notice, hey, I'm actually a lot stronger than I was. But the progression is very slow and very slight. So because of that, between those fragments and between not being able to level up very often because of the amount of runes, again, it's not giving you that sense of progression. So I'd almost rather that with the DLC, it went to a sort of Metroid thing of, we're going to strip you of all your abilities and you start again from level 1.
Yeah,
because
that
then
be good.
Everyone's on the same level. They can give you the sense of progression. They can give you that difficulty, but it doesn't do that. And so as much as you're progressing around the world and you're seeing things and you're fighting bosses, and that's cool, it just feels like it's a little bit flat.
Oh, what if you became a shadow version of yourself and then you had to respec 50 levels or something? And then because then you could do a different build.
I mean, I did a different build. My first playthrough, I was a mage and I got bored with it. So going into the DLC, I thought I want to do a different build. So I respec'd. I've got this really cool twin blade that does fire and bleed damage. It's like I'm Darth Maul, basically.
Is it better than Bloodhound Fang?
I don't want to use the Bloodhound. I was about to say Bloodhound Gang.
The
Bloodhound Fang, because it's a basic choice that everybody uses. But also, it's
not the proper way of playing.
No, that's not what I mean.
Bet you don't even play the Mimic. Oh, the Mimic's cheating.
No, I always use the Mimic.
Okay, good.
Obviously.
I saw somebody on they were like, oh, there was it wasn't a gatekeeping thing, but it was like, oh, apparently there are people that claim that the Mimic is cheating.
Well, they're wrong. If it's in the game, it's there to be used. The Fang is great. It's just that it's very sword and shield. And having played
no shield for me,
or no shield, but having played like the other Souls games where a lot of the time you're with a sword and shield, I was like, I want to do something different. So the thing with the twin blade is that it does blood damage like the Bloodhound Fang, but because it's a lot quicker, you're doing like 2 hits in 1 stroke. So you're building up blood damage a lot quicker, I think.
Yeah.
And it just looks cool. So I'm whipping through with that, and I respect whipping through with that, and I'm having a great time. I am absolutely loving it.
Does it have an inbuilt Ashes of War? Is that a thing? What they're called?
Yes, the twin blade.
Yeah.
Yes, it's called Blood Dance something, and it's this like big sweeping attack that does. It's almost sort of Melania style, sweeping, hitting things in the air. Nice. It does loads of damage. It's really cool. So yeah, like I say, I haven't finished it. I'm gonna guess maybe 8 to 10 hours in, and
soon be 12 hours after this podcast. I'm sure.
I'm sure. I'm like I said, I'm having a great time. I think it's flawed as an experience because it's DLC, and I almost wish that they just made a new game in some ways, because it would allow them to give you the progression and balance the difficulty a little bit more. But it's more Elden Ring. Like, you can't go wrong. It's just it feels so good to play. I've been thinking about it non-stop since playing it. I'm excited to keep playing it. There's a boss I'm about to do that is so cool.
Is that the one that you didn't do yesterday.
Well, I nearly did it first time. And then there was a second phase. The typical Souls way.
We've been there.
So I can't wait to give that another go. It's brilliant. I'm having a great time. I know the reviews have been mostly positive.
The reviews have been they have been incredibly positive. There's just one person that's somehow was decided to be.
I'm not going to talk about that.
Anyway, but it's literally it's either 92 to 94 on Metacritic. It is universal acclaim, apart from I've just seen maybe one person that they have their own opinion.
Sure. I haven't read the other reviews, so I don't know what they've been saying apart from just seeing the scores. So I'm presuming that it's generally people are loving it. Like I say, I have my reservations a little bit, but I'm still having a fucking brilliant time with it.
I don't think you'll ever 100% love anything.
Well, even the base game has its flaws.
Yeah.
I think
Is it still a 5 out of 5?
Yeah.
Oh.
A 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10 or whatever doesn't mean it's a perfect game.
We know that, yeah.
It means that it's an incredible game that is worthy of your attention and a must play.
What games in the last few years would you have given a 5 out of 5 to?
Elden Ring.
Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes. And Breath of the Wild, if you're going back that far.
Cocoon? That annoying Fox
game?
Like
Cocoon and Tunic would be up there. Oh God. See, you put me on the spot, and now I can't even remember what came out in the last few years.
Oh, we 5 out of 5 for Citizen
Oh,
Sleeper.
Citizen Sleeper. Yeah, that would be a 5. Yeah, there are loads.
Good.
But the base game of Elden Ring is not perfect. Like, you haven't...
Oh, I mean, like the PS5 version, for example, doesn't run amazingly well.
Well, that...
If you want to go,
I think...
You know me, I'm a performance whore when it comes to...
You are. You love your faps per second.
I do.
And I think it has a bit of a loop problem where towards the end you start just getting gear that doesn't suit your build. And I found that a bit annoying. And you start to notice repeated enemies and designs and things where they've obviously not necessarily run out of time, but they've made this huge world that just starts to get a bit repetitive towards the end. I think it's best at the beginning where you've got free reign, and then they try to sort of funnel you towards an ending, and it gets a little linear, which is fine, but I think you start getting gear that doesn't necessarily suit your build, so you're exploring for no reason. And I will say in the DLC, I'm yet to find any gear that's better than what I've already got. Yeah. And again, that's because you can then take that gear and use it in the base game, so it still has to balance with what's in the base game. Now, maybe in a few months' time, probably more like a few weeks, we'll see people take gear from the DLC and maybe get to the base game plus 7 new game plus and find that there's some amazing strats or something. But we'll see.
Let people experiment when it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very nice. So you're looking forward to playing more?
Absolutely.
Well, let's finish this podcast very soon and you can go and play some.
Well, what have you been playing? Because you've been streaming a lot.
Yeah, I've been streaming. So last Friday, I was on the front page of Steam, or the Steam page, playing Kingdom Hearts 1 on there, because that's going to be the start of a Let's Play series I'm going to be doing, which is weird, because I recorded it locally, and then I decided afterwards, I was like, no, I'll do a clean restart, just because there was things going wrong. I ended up recording it in 30 FPS, and there was a thing on there that's saying, like, follow me at Twitch. So... yeah, it's Kingdom Hearts, but it runs really well on Steam. I know some people have had issues if they've got very specific graphics cards, but for me, I didn't have any problem at all. I've got further. I think I have got further in Kingdom. I don't think Kingdom Hearts 1. I don't think I played that much of it when it first came out, but Kingdom Hearts 2, I think I got quite a bit further.
Right.
Where's Aladdin? Which is the Aladdin world?
He's in both.
Okay, maybe I got to I feel like I got...
I'm pretty sure he's in both.
Okay, well,
I keep talking. I'll double check.
I'm pretty sure I got to Aladdin in 2, and then there was a really tough boss, and being young and somebody that does not have motivation, I just stopped playing when I got to a boss. But I don't know if it was... I think it was after Aladdin, but I remember spending quite a while there. But yeah, no, so I'm currently... because I've got the worst memory ever, but I do remember the very beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1, because I played it quite recently. But, like, genuinely, I don't actually... I think. Did I ever play Kingdom Hearts 1? Like my memory's just terrible.
Sure you've told me you have.
Yeah, but when I play, I don't recognize any of it. So I'm like, did I? I'm sure I bought it, or it might have been 2. But anyway, yeah. So I just playing the start of Kingdom Hearts 1. It definitely has some controller issues, like some control issues. I'm actually quite intrigued to see what
Yes, it is in both.
Okay. I think it's...
Agrabah.
Yeah, the second and third, I'm hoping that the controls will be a bit better, a bit like in Mass Effect. Mass Effect, the story and everything in one is brilliant, and, you know, it's manageable now that they've, you know, you're able to use a controller with it, because on PC you can't. So I'm hoping that in future they'll be a little bit better, because, yeah, the controls are a bit dodgy. I need to remap them, and I think you can. There's a menu for controls, but there isn't for remapping. You have to go into like a different menu to find, which I think is where the remapping controls are. Because I think X is like, I think circles jump, or I don't know. The controls just don't feel right for me, so I just need to switch them around. But no, the story, I really like the puzzles. It just feels very PS2, even PS1, like that kind of era puzzles. Yeah, where you're going to the same place a few times. They're reusing the same location for like 2 or 3 different types of puzzle, but it's you have to like, you go up to the top of a tree and you hit a switch, and then you go down, and then you can hit another switch which changes the one at the top, so then you go back up to the top of the tree again, and then you can go somewhere else. And it's very much that kind of quite simple storytelling, quite simple puzzles, but I quite like that. And the story is very, very amusing, and just
batshit.
Yeah, I haven't had any of the weird overlaw, like that weird stuff yet. It's not happened yet.
More in 2.
Is it? Yeah. So that stuff hasn't really happened, but like I've played a bit of 2, and I played a bit of 3 as well. In fact, 3 I got up to the end of the Toy Story world, and
nice. I've not played any of 3.
So it was really good, and like I didn't understand anything that was going on with all the weird stuff, but just going to a world and being like, "Hey, this is the problem that we've got here. Can you help us?" And then you go and help them. As far as that's concerned, like that was great.
That's what I really like about the first game, is that you go to each world and, like you say, there's a problem, we need to solve it. And yes, there's an overarching story, but it's those little mini stories that I really like. It sort of makes it quite episodic.
Yeah, and I like that. And that's probably, I don't know if I'll end up doing every single game or how long it's going to take, but I'm going to go and play through as many as I can and enjoy them. But it's mainly those little mini stories that are most enjoyable, and the characters that you bump into.
Have you played it on the Steam Deck yet?
I loaded it. No, actually, I haven't played it on the Steam Deck yet. Okay. No, I haven't, but I've heard it runs well on there. So I will give it a go. Nobody's reported any issues.
Okay, good.
And I've also played... Oh, I've got a Minecraft server starting this weekend.
Nice.
With the new update, because I've not played it in about 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. So there have been quite a lot of updates, and yeah, I'm looking forward to starting a new server with...
Can people join?
People will be able to join this weekend. There will be a channel point redemption on my Twitch, but also if anybody ever took part or was ever had access to the original Biggest Verse SMP, which, do you know what SMP stands for?
Senior multiplayer.
Actually, I think survival multiplayer.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it is survival multiplayer because it's survival mode.
I don't know where senior came from first, but
no, senior manager. But yeah, no, if anybody ever took part in the original, then they'll be able to just access it fine. Oh well, they'll get the code, they'll get the address given. But yeah, it's just going to be fun, and I just want to kind of test it out and see what it's like, and keep it up there, and we'll do some challenges, various things like that. What else was the other one? Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Another Square Enix game.
I have, yeah. Rebirth, I very quickly I've literally played about an hour and a half, because I did last night I decided to sit down, set everything up, and record an episode of Rebirth, and I've arrived at Costa del Sol. Costa del Sol, which, was a lot faster in the original, and this one I've spent over an hour just taking photos of Cactuar.
Yes.
They pronounce it weird.
Cactuar.
Because I always thought it was Cactuar, but it's not. It's Cactuar.
Yeah, it's UA, not AU.
Which doesn't make sense in my brain. But yeah, so Cactuar. And they're all like, I want the Cactuar. I don't know, I want a picture of the Cactuar. And there's a random businessman that's wanting to go and take pictures of the Cactuar. And then he asks for the photos. And he's flirting a lot with Tifa. And then he's going back to his wife. And I'm like, oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
There's some, and also, so you go there.
It's quite a sexy segment.
It is very sexy. Oh yeah, I'm topless because you can choose either topless or with like beach shirt.
Well, it's a whole thing of, you can't come on the beach unless you're in swimwear. So then you just spend about 3 hours doing quests to try and find some swimwear.
And then one of the swimmers like top off. I'm like, surely I could just take my top off and my shoes off, and that looks like beachwear kind of.
So, can I ask which outfits you chose for?
I've only done Cloud.
Okay.
And obviously topless.
Okay.
And but then you go to the beach, and then there's the people in the giant robes there, and I'm like, well, why weren't they stopped? But I'm really enjoying that part. Actually, I do like the little weird mini missions because I did the duck shooting game.
Yep.
I got max score. Well, not max score. I got the 15,000 at first time from that.
Nice.
And which is great because when I went to Fair Game in London, also got a very high score from that.
True to life, then.
Yep. And the cactuar, I quite enjoyed going around and taking photos of the cactuar.
I hated that bit.
Because I loved it. Because when you're like, oh, there it is. You take a picture. It's like, no, that's the trick one. Like, no.
Yeah, that really annoyed me.
Oh,
So I was like, I know where these are. And I was like, oh, no, this is more difficult than I thought.
No, I just found it quite amusing. I just like walking around Costa del Sol. It's my favorite place in any Final Fantasy game. Well, that's the thing is a little bit. So, yeah, they give you a little segue that they call a balancing thing, or what do they call it?
Oh, yeah, they don't call it a Segway, do they?
No, because that's a brand.
Yeah.
Mr. Segway.
Let me check.
It's called it's just something like a balance or I don't know. But they give you that pretty much straight away. Like the second you get to Costa, it's like, here's one, get on it. And then you can go and scoot around it. Oh my God, are they difficult?
They call it a wheelie.
A wheelie, that's it. But oh my God, are they difficult to drive? Like, it doesn't work like a car because you right trigger and left trigger. So right trigger goes forward, left trigger goes back, like accelerate and decelerate. But it's not like a car where you then, whichever way you're facing, if you like turn left or right, it will turn left or right because the left and right is relative to where the camera is, not where the camera's pointing, not where the Segway's pointing. So if you go on a Segway and it's facing...
I didn't find it that hard. But...
Oh, God, yeah. If you're on the Segway and it's facing right, let's say, but your camera's looking straight on, it's almost impossible to just do a quick turn and go straight on. Oh. It's just, But then I just destroyed everything I was driving around. I was knocking tables over.
Smacked into people.
Everything was getting smashed. I've destroyed chairs. Chair went in the sea at one point.
Great.
Go and check it out on YouTube. It's a Let's Play series. It's on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/biggestbennett. Go check it out. Just see me destroying everything accidentally and apologizing.
Where you get the wheelie, they give you accessories depending on how far you've traveled.
I did all of it. I know.
You did it all?
I did every single one within about 30 minutes.
Yeah, because I just started doing laps just to try and build up enough points, and hence I was smacking into everything as I was doing laps.
Oh yeah, I was doing that. But also when you play as Tifa or Aerith, it also counts as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I actually got. I got some kind of pedometer thing, but I need to go and check out what that is.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was actually useful, but I saw it and was like, I must have that.
Yeah, I got to reach top rank.
Oh, of course.
There's no trophy, but I did that and met Johnny.
Yes.
Who's the hot guy from the first one. Now he's in this one.
No, you say hot. He's no Biggs.
He is. No, that's true. Why isn't Biggs at the beach?
He should be.
Biggs at the beach. I can see Biggs in like surfer shorts, not in Speedo, sadly.
No, he'd be in slutty Speedos.
Yeah. Oh, like swim trunks, the tight ones.
Yes.
Yeah,
like professional swimmer trunks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully at some point, I can get him there.
There's also there's more card playing as well.
There is. I did that confused me a little bit. That made my brain hurt a bit because there's a card playing where they've already it's like a Queen's Blood, but they've already put down their wands and you've only got like 3 cards to pick.
I love that mode.
That mode was definitely less stressful than the dun 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 when you're always trying to work out what the other person's doing.
Yeah. It's like a puzzle mode.
Yeah,
so
it is.
all the cards are down. It's like, right, you have to win using these 3 cards, and you've got 2 moves, and what you're going to do with it.
Is everybody sat down there, or are they the usual just Queen's Gambit ones, the ones that are still on the beach? Because I know you had to do the 3 for a token, but
from now on, well, the main side quest for Queen's Blood, not Queen's Gambit.
Yeah,
I do it all the time. For Queen's Blood is playing it normally.
Yeah.
But you will find places where you can also do that puzzle mode.
Yeah, okay, cool. I liked that. I like the little side missions. It's just something fun to do.
Yeah.
I just don't like the ones that are really frustrating. Like Queen's Blood, sometimes I'm like, this is a really difficult one to beat, and I'll just pause the recording and be like, I'll come back to it when I'm winning, when I've got a winning hand.
I could play Queen's Blood all day. I love it.
No. No.
No.
No, I'm fine. I don't need to get like max score and everything, and that's what I've decided. I'm definitely not going to go for the platinum, but I want to do all the side missions.
Eventually, you'll realize what the platinum involves.
Oh, it involves you in like hard mode. Oh no, there's no way. I've no intention of getting the platinum on Remake, and I've got no intention of getting the platinum on Rebirth. I'm like, I like these games. I play them. I can do every single side mission. I can take part in all the side quests. I'm happy to do like the side quests, all this little, the party games and the mini games. That's the one. But I don't really need to go and focus too much more on anything. Like I can get my full enjoyment from just playing it like that.
Yeah, I've given up on them.
Yeah, just it's not necessary. And I don't like this.
Fun.
Yeah, I quite like. It's just disappointing because I like getting a platinum in a game I love, and I love this game.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do something that's just because I found there's a point where if I don't get a platinum, but that I've tried really hard to, I'll start to resent the game. And 7 Remake, I stopped myself because I spent ages getting that pull-up challenge, like really long time doing it. And then I saw all the other stuff that I had to do, and I was like, actually, no, I can't be arsed. And they're probably easier than what that pull-up challenge was, but I cannot be arsed.
Well, keep us posted on Rebirth, because there's more in that.
I'm going to record a few more. I can't tomorrow because I'm streaming. Soon. Very soon. Oh, the weekend, actually. I think I'm going to do something at the weekend.
Yeah. Speaking of platinums, I think I'm only 2 trophies off the platinum for Elden Ring now, which are both to do with the ending.
So the thing is, like, Elden Ring is one that I would actually really like to get.
It's
and I don't think
not
it's
that hard.
Well, I don't think
if
it's...
I'm being honest. And I'm not saying that to be a dick. It's just the trophies aren't complicated.
No. I think but do you have to do 3 run-throughs, or can you do a certain save at something?
I'm not sure, because essentially, without spoiling too much, the ending is sort of a choice thing.
Okay.
And
can you save before that and choose?
That's what I'm not sure, and I'm hoping you can, because I don't want to have to play through it all again.
Yeah.
But I've got what I think is considered the most difficult ending already, just in terms of the number of steps you have to go through.
Okay. Can I do that, or have I got am I walled off?
No, you've still got plenty of time.
Can anybody do it?
Yeah.
Because I'd love to do that. It was because I just enjoy fighting the bosses. I want to play more now.
Do it.
I couldn't play more. I wanted to play some more this week, but unfortunately somebody has had the upgraded Erdtree version, so I wasn't able to stream it this week, because otherwise people would see all the stuff and they'd be like, "Oh," and they'd be taking screenshots, and then you'd get into trouble and I'd get into trouble, and yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine. So that's why I cancelled my stream and recorded Rebirth.
And now you've got a lovely YouTube video.
Oh, it is. It's in 4K as well.
Exactly.
So shall we look at what other people have been playing?
Let's.
Thank you very much to everybody who has left us something. I know Wibble and Helios have done quite a few demos and left us a bunch of reviews, so I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
We've got some theses here.
That is totally fine.
Right, speaking of Final Fantasy, Dan Law says, circled back around to Final Fantasy XVI's DLCs. There's no spoilers, don't worry. Both offered a challenge, in part due to getting used to the combat again. The latter is quite the visual treat. Nice to see the world and lore expanded, plus get some new abilities to play with as well. Great hearing the amazing cast again. The game so needed a sprint button, especially in towns. Which I sort of agree with. Because Clive starts sprinting after you've run a certain amount.
Yeah.
It's like an automatic thing, not a button press. The fight gave me flashbacks to the final boss in another game, and Perseverance won out in the end. I'll say that.
Wow. Is it a game that I'm playing?
Yes.
Okay.
Clasco says, I've been getting around to Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I can't tolerate it for long periods of time, but it's been suitable for little bursts of playtime whilst on holiday.
That's what you want sometimes, something that gives you a little burst of joy.
Right, Helios. Also been playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Funny that. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
It's a great series. Helios says, I started playing Final Fantasy VIII again. Great choice. Currently on Disc 2, and this is the furthest I've come since playing it for the first time back in '99 or so. I'll reserve judgment till I finish, but the game is ripe for a complete remake. You spend so much time in menus junctioning GFs and magic, and then you're discouraged from using said magic, and all the GFs have insanely long animations each time you use them. I love the GFs. I'm not gonna lie.
The GFs, the summons, yeah.
And it's unavoidable. The game forces different party compositions on you, so you're stuck fiddling in menus. I mean, that is annoying. I'll give you that. On top of that, mobs level up with you, so you're discouraged even battling them, but bosses don't give XP, thankfully. Yeah, that's true. It like level scales with you, so if you...
So you can't grind?
No, basically. Hence, it's all about your build with GFs. Music, while just as good as I remember, is overwhelming at times. Just running around garden trying to do card battles, I'm bombarded by the same 100-second-long looped theme blaring through the speakers on constant repeat. I love that theme. I'll avoid going in on PS1 graphics because it was the times, but the pre-rendered cutscene evoke a certain nostalgic fondness. I still remember being awed by Renoa's hair moving individually while dancing in the demo. Yes.
Which one? Where's he playing it? Because I know it's on there's the remastered version, isn't there?
Helios hasn't said, but yes, there is the remastered one, which I recently downloaded on Switch, which has slightly better character models.
Ruins it a bit. Bit like the Final Fantasy X.
Squall kind of needs to look a bit angular and weird looking, like he just always does.
It's like I was the remake or the remaster of 10. I'm not sure about Tidus's face either.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I am, however, fully invested in the story. It's what I expect from Final Fantasy. Unlike 12, which is my favourite, where you're either a bystander or a late arrival to any major world event, in 8 you're fully the centre of attention of anything and everything that happens in the world. Even the dream sequences offer a nice break in tempo and provide a different POV from the main story. I'm excited to play more, especially because I remember how batshit the story becomes later on, but I desperately crave a complete remake in the style of 7.
Don't think that'll happen, but that's...
No.
Yeah. I don't think they'll ever do one again.
Well, the problem with 8 is that they lost the source files. There's a whole thing where literally the original files have gone missing. So for them to remake it is an effort. But also just remake it from the ground up anyway.
Yeah, remake it. I mean, they could do it like what they might be doing a 9 remake for. Like that kind of... Like, do it from the same... just do it like the same camera angle and like the pre-rendered background. The 2D... Not the 2D, 3D remake, because they kind of work with the pixely type ones. But maybe one a little bit like that. Well, no, because I don't like the real style of it. The one that was the mobile version of 7.
Yeah.
But something... Yeah, I think they would never do a remake or rebirth stuff because I think they might be losing money on that.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever going to do a remake in the way they have with 7. I think it's become too long, too big a project. Splitting it into 3 games is just too much. And I think... people are getting a bit fatigued because it takes so long to make a game now.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, I would love a remake of 8. 8 is probably my second favorite after 7, so I would love it. But if they do it, I would want it to be very similar, just with improved graphics and improved menus, as Helios said, and just give it to us in one game, not in a trilogy.
And give us some like bits to make it easier as well. Give us the not accessibility, but the
boosts?
Cheat codes. Yeah, the boosts.
Well, they have that in the 8 re-release.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I will play it.
There you go. What I really want is a remake of 6, but in full 3D, because that world deserves to be seen in 3D. That's what I want. Also, Helios plays some Steam Next Fest stuff. I tried a game with the funniest concept ever. It's called Dungeon Crawler, and it's a deck-building dungeon crawler with a claw machine gameplay. Each turn, you navigate your claw to pick up what actions you will perform, like attack, guard, heal, special items. You add items to your pool after every battle. On certain spots, you can upgrade them or remove, just standard deck building mechanics. However, the game still needs a lot of work. There were no sounds beside the music. The different starting characters were too similar. They need variety in items and power-ups. But if this tiny Swiss developer can fix all that, we might be seeing another Slay the Spire.
Switzerland and Scotland drew 1-1.
Ooh.
My brother
GG
said...
Scotland.
My dad said, this is shockingly poor. And my brother said, it's like watching a really fit pub team. I don't think he means fit like that. But yeah.
Pete Random, I've been back playing Starfield the last few weeks since the update. Work is full on, so it's the perfect mindless game that requires very little of my brain at the end of a long day.
Please tell me it's good.
I can just shut off and meander planets and obsessively tinker with my ship and guns. Not a perfect game, but suits my current needs perfectly.
Yeah, that expansion type thing that they announced at the showcase looked quite interesting. Is that coming soon, or was that released then?
The expansion?
Yeah.
No, it's coming soon.
Okay.
In like September, maybe October, something like that. Diver Cat. This actually happened today. Oh wait, no, sorry, that was a different question. Mr. Wibble has lots of Next Fest demos.
Brilliant.
I will race through them quickly. So we have Foul Damage, as in FOWL. You're an egg, your only power is jumping, and you have to make your way through platform levels. I like the concept. Wasn't as frustrating as I expected, though dumb mistakes are lethal. Once I got into the flow of figuring out what would make me crack. Wishlisted. Just Crow
What
Things.
makes you crack?
Feels like an evolution of Rain on Your Parade, where you're a crow and get to cause chaos. So much more friendly mischief to cause, though I do wonder how long it'll keep people entertained.
Wait, so you're not
Wishlisted.
raining?
So Rain on Your Parade...
I know, yeah, is you rain on parades.
Yeah, as a cloud.
But I'm thinking what the crow might do on people.
Shit on them.
Oh,
I don't know.
I hope so.
Isn't that what crows do?
I don't know.
I mean, they're
I'm
bird,
not a
after
crow.
all. Next one is Preserve, a nice little cozy tile puzzler where you get landscape of hexagonal tiles and resource cards like grass, trees, flowers, goats, wolves, and bees to help you build and fill biomes. The goal is to get score points by doing this in order to expand your map. Nice and chill, wishlisted.
Sounds a bit Dolph romantic-y.
It does. The next one is Bernard, like Bernard but bear.
A bear and Ben and Ed.
Sure. An uncomplicated game, a bit of a platformer, but definitely a tactical card-based archery adventure. That's a lot of words. You're a little bear with a bow, making your way through the woods in search of your father. In search of daddy. You collect cards to build a deck, which gives you temporary extra abilities. Kind of fun to play, keeping an eye on the game. Doesn't say wishlisted for this one. Waltz and Jam, an action-adventure game with a puzzle aspect where you're a little ghost called Waltz with a cute dog called Jam, making your way through a world. It's cute, it's cozy, it's a bit creepy. The demo had a fun little boss fight in it, and if that's the difficulty level, it's a nice forgiving game to sit on the Steam Deck with. Wishlisted. Aska, you're a Viking.
Belinoa.
You're marooned on an island, and the gods want you to rebuild a tribe. Very much a survival crafting game, and while the demo was a bit confusing to start with, once you realise what to gather and what to build, it gets easier. Food is perishable, NPC villagers do have demands, so you will have to manage things. I'd compare it to other survival games, but I've not really played any. Might get into this one, though. Doesn't say wishlisted. And then I'll Be Brave Tomorrow.
There we know. I know that one.
There
I
you
will,
go.
yeah.
Puts you in the bed of a sick child who ends up in hospital. As hospital stays are boring, your parents bring you things to entertain you in your hospital room, including a games console where you play a 2D platform game. It's a good mix of real life and escapism by play, while plucking the heartstrings. Wishlisted.
Very good. Thank you. Please all wishlist that one. That is that is a work thing for me as well, because half of all proceeds for I'll Be Brave Tomorrow will go to Gosh. And if you're going to TwitchCon, you might be able to play a little build of that. Go find Tolu and say, give me your laptop, give me a Surface, I want to play a game.
Nice.
And she'll have to say yes.
She will have to.
Yeah, that is in her contract. I don't know.
Nice. Well, that's what everyone else has been playing. Now, in terms of the news this week, there's basically only one thing.
No. There is, but I want to take something from that, and because it's something that you've been playing.
Oh, okay, we can do that.
Yeah, let's separate it.
So, this week, the big news thing was the Nintendo Direct.
Nintendo Erect.
Which we've been wanting for a while. We've been expecting one. We've had Summer Game Fest. We've had Xbox. We've had PlayStation. Now it's Nintendo's turn.
Yes.
So one of the things that was announced, I got to play in advance last week.
Silk Song.
I wish. I have played that.
Have you?
Yeah. It was at EGX a few years ago. And I got to play it. There were like a couple of different levels to play through. And then since then, nothing.
What's happened to it?
Don't know. Really don't know. It
sounds like
wild.
a development hell or something.
Yeah, or some sort of weird, like, publishing problem, or I don't know.
The fact that they were that close. The fact. Well, did you see the Xbox? I didn't realize that Xbox had tweeted, because Xbox had featured in a showcase or whatever they call those, and they said like all games are out in the next 12 months, and Silk Song wasn't one of them. And somebody said, "Do you mean Silk Song's out in the next 12 months?" And they're like, "Yes," and that was in 2022.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what's going on. So Silk Song was not in the Direct. But what was there that I got to play a week ago is Dragon Quest III, which is being remade in a HD 2D style, which is basically like Octopath. So, yeah, they teased this a few weeks ago, but they didn't say exactly what was coming. And what we got to play was a little build of Dragon Quest 3.
Why are 3? Because it's like there are 11. Why are they just saying, hey, did they just go and put their hand into a hat and went, 3?
That, Ben, is a great question.
It's as though I know what the answer is.
I know. So 3 is chronologically the first in the series.
Like Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yes. So I will...
And Red Dead 3. Not Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead 3.
Sure.
It's a prequel.
Okay. If you say so.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually Red Dead 3.
Right.
Because of Red Dead Revolver.
Okay.
Dragon Quest?
Sure. So I will caveat all this by saying I've never played a Dragon Quest game before.
Get in the bin.
I know.
Get in the bin. You should
Honestly.
delete your account, as that person said in Eurogamer.
That's what people said in the comments. They said, you should delete this article. And I replied, thanks for your engagement.
Did you see the people defending you though?
Yes.
They weren't all me.
No. There were some nice people defending me.
Yeah.
Essentially, I've played pretty much all the Final Fantasy games. I'm a big RPG lover.
Mm-hmm.
I've just never played a Dragon Quest game. And Dragon Quest 1 was the sort of first ever Japanese RPG, really. And it's the reason that we have the genre.
Some people are furiously typing.
Probably.
Their
Well,
complaints.
essentially it was. And from what I understand, Dragon Quest 3 is the one that then modernized that and turned that into the JRPG that we know today, essentially. But what they did with 3 was they made it a prequel to the other 2. So the first 3 games form what's called the Erdtree trilogy, Erdtree being the name of the hero, I believe, or at least a reference to it. So that's why they're starting with the first one. Now, there were a lot of rumors once they teased this of this is actually going to be a trilogy, and it's not just 3, it's all of them in one. So when I went to Square Enix, I said to them, is this just 3, or is it all? Or is it a trilogy? To which they responded, "Oh, that's a nice idea." I was like,
And then
okay.
they bloody announced it in the direct.
And then they announced it in the direct, and they hadn't told us that.
But even though you'd been embargoed,
Yeah.
that's harsh. But
so then in the direct, because I'd written a news story in advance, ready, expecting it at the direct, ready to go, and then had to quickly rewrite it and be like, it's actually the trilogy, it's all of them. Well, as in they're doing them. So 1 and 2 will be next year. So they're individual, it's not a collection. But this is just 3. So it's the good starting point for the series. And that's what I'm so excited about, because I've never played any of them. For me, it's like this is the perfect opportunity to go back and play it in a way that suits modern consoles.
yeah, and that's like you're looking forward to it. I don't understand that random gatekeeper, because well, not even gatekeeper, that person that was like really angry that you hadn't played it, and it's like this person has not played it before. Has played lots of other games. 99% of the world hasn't played it. So
To be clear,
he wanted to play it. Why are you getting angry?
To be clear, Dragon Quest 3 originally came out in 1988 when I was 1.
I wasn't even born then.
There you go.
Was I even born?
And well, that year.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
And it's been re-released in different forms. You can actually play the original or a slightly souped up version of it on the Switch now, if you want to, which
Was
is
it
also a mobile version.
Ooh, what was the name of it when it came to the US?
They added an extra name. Oh, it was originally Dragon Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Dragon Quest in Japan. When it came to America, it's Dragon Warrior. Now it's just known as Dragon Quest everywhere.
It came out February 10th, 1988. I was not born. I was probably inside my mother.
Yes. So
lovely
that's my
thought.
excuse for like not getting around to it. And Dragon Quest 11 has been on my list for forever to get around to playing, and I just haven't played it.
It's got Shy in it, Afro. We need to do it.
I know.
Otherwise it'll
I need
kick
to
off.
play them. So this basically it's coming out on Switch, Xbox, PS5, and PC. It is, like I said, it's HD 2D. So they have tilted the camera down rather than being top down. So it gives you these 3D worlds with these pixel characters. It looks really lovely. They've overhauled all the music. It's played by a live orchestra. So it's now full. Well, as in they've recorded an orchestra playing it. So I don't know why I said live.
Obviously, you tune in and there's somebody in the back going.
Do that again.
Should see my
So
trombone as
it's
well.
full. Oh. So there's a full orchestra now playing the music, which sounds great. There are lots of little quality of life things, some of which I wasn't sure what is new and what was already in the original. But there are things like an auto battle, so you can literally have the game play itself.
Why would anybody do that?
Well,
They can do that in
you
Yakuza,
can
actually.
you can do that so that certain characters you play as and certain ones you don't.
Yeah.
So, for instance, the Persona games originally were you only control the protagonist, and your party members are automatically done by the computer. You could have that in this if you want. You now, when you level up, you regain all your health, and I don't think the original did that. And this
I like
does.
games that do that. When you
know, it's
Yakuza
really handy.
Yakuza does that all the time because you can't level.
I
You
might
have
be
to
wrong
use-
on that, by the way. I might be wrong.
Yeah, no, because Yakuza, I think Yakuza, you can only. I'm pretty sure maybe there is a place where I think there's a place in certain dungeons that you can go to kind of replenish your health, but out in the overworld, I think it might be trickier.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know that there are in the original certain save places you can save. There's now an autosave, which is nice. And one of the things I most like is that there is now a big quest marker. And I'm sure purists are going to say, "Oh, why do you want a big yellow quest marker
This
to
would be
point
a
you where to
fasting
go?
predation of games.
You're meant to read what's said." And yes, you are. But playing, for instance, the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters recently, those
wow.
old games, sometimes it's so unclear where you're meant to go.
It's obtuse, isn't it?
It's and
it?
you whatever, and you speak to people, and yes, they give you hints, but it's not always clear, and you spend ages trying to work out where to go. And this just puts a marker on, so you can go, okay, I know I need to go to that town next. Fine. And it's also optional, so you can turn it off if you want.
Someone that played the Pixel remaster of Final Fantasy 1 without looking at a guide at all, except for one moment, because I tried not to. It was trying to find the airship in the sand area. Like for some reason, I could not find that. And I spent like 2 hours.
Yeah,
wasted.
So basically, this is the perfect way to play Dragon Quest. It comes out in November, I believe, and yes, the next two, which are the first two games, will be out next year, so you can play the trilogy. Will they do all of them? I don't know. It feels a bit like this is the Dragon Quest equivalent of the Pixel remasters.
Because wasn't 4, 5, and 6 also a trilogy as well?
I think they might have been. So maybe they'll do it in chunks. That would be lovely. It's a great way of playing these games, and I'm genuinely excited to play them properly now.
Nice. Banging.
Yeah. So yes, Dragon Quest. So that was announced at the Direct.
DQ.
There were some other things. I'm not going to go through them all, and I'm not going to do it in order because
great.
that would be boring. But was there anything that caught your eye?
Mario Party Jamboree.
Okay.
Cannot
tell us
friggin'
more.
wait. It is Mario Party Deluxe Premium Plus. There are a couple. I mean, it's not deluxe because there are like a couple of maps from previous ones, but generally it's a new Mario Party game, a very new Mario Party game with lots of interesting looking maps. There are some modes where you can have 20 people online, like a battle royale style
That is
Mario
gonna be
Party.
wild.
It's gonna be horrible for most people, and
you're still going to win randomly.
Can't wait to play it and really just piss off everybody.
Great. Look forward to that, everyone.
And I'll be playing that, definitely. I'll be getting it. So if anybody does want to get it as well, let's go and do a stream with a bunch of us playing. Do you know what I really hope they bring back?
What?
50-turn games.
50 turns with 20 people.
No, not with 20 people. Well, it's with a 4.
Okay.
But I'd love like a good 4-hour Mario Party game.
You want a nice long session.
That takes 4 hours and I still win at the end because the disappointment is
because
just
they edge
double.
you throughout and then dump a load of stars on someone else.
Well, I also think that 20, when it's 20 turns, it's kind of over in an hour or so, or over in a couple of hours, and you're like, oh, I kind of wanted a bit more. Whereas 40, at the end of it, you're drained. You're like, genuinely don't give a shit who's won. I just want to stop playing this game.
Like an epic game of Monopoly.
Exactly.
At Christmas.
Yeah. We play Catan and it goes on for like 5 hours. You know, that's what you want from a kind of board game style game. So I hope that there's a 50 round one.
Okay.
Or we'll just play like best of 3.
Sure. Okay, so that was your big
No,
pick,
I mean, obviously, I also really enjoyed that. Interestingly, like a couple of Apple Arcade games seem to be ending their exclusivity. They big Hello Kitty, what's the one? Yeah, Hello Kitty, Purple Paradise or something like that. I don't know. Actually, I need
Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
That's the one I need to.
No, there's a typo.
Oh, another one. I've actually, I'm halfway through downloading. Unfortunately, it was affecting the football that we were watching, so I need to continue downloading that on my phone because, yeah, the Hello Kitty game on mobile, which is coming out on everything now, I think, except for Xbox, is actually really, really good. If you like Animal Crossing / Stardew / other kind of fun games like that, it's great. And it's also not just Hello Kitty. So if you're like, I don't think Hello Kitty, that's for girls. It's also got the
Is it all
Sanrio.
Sanrio? Okay.
Yeah, the one that with
Is
the
Good
arsehole.
Itama in it?
Yeah.
Well, now I'm interested.
I think.
Oh.
I think. I'll double check. It's downloaded. But no, there's that. And what was the other one that was?
The other one is Fantasian, which I've been playing recently, which is...
You're pissed off now?
No, because I'm playing it on my phone and it's fine. And it works... The thing is, it works with touch control on my phone. So then playing it without that, with a controller, I don't know. I don't know if it'll work as well. It is... Fantasian is a JRPG from Hironobu Sakaguchi, who is the creator of Final Fantasy. And he created his own studio after leaving Square called Mistwalker. And this was meant to be his sort of big final game ever.
Oh.
So it is like the JRPG of all JRPGs, which means it's full of a lot of different tropes. But it's still a really, really fun game to play. And it uses touch controls for like battles, selecting and aiming and things like that. It's really good. And Square, I think, are now publishing this, so it's like he's teamed up with Square again, which is nice.
Yeah, so the 4 things I was looking forward to, and I'll save that last one for last because I know you're excited about it as well. Mario Party, Hello Kitty, The Filthy Hobbits. That's actually, I've never done that. Tried to do an impression of
very
Smeagol.
good,
That was
actually.
for a first try. I was quite impressed with
I'm
that.
impressed.
But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that Hobbit game. The second I saw it, I was like, a really chill, relaxing, kind of cozy farming game where it's just like living in Hobbiton. That's a dream. It's like if they ever made, which I know they already have done, but if they've made a really successful and popular, massive Lord of the Rings MMO, like the size of Final Fantasy XIV, for example, it's something that big, I would probably just spend most of my time in Hobbiton, just going around,
Fair.
chilling, as long as it's not too overpopulated. I don't know, just that to me is a great game that, I don't know, I just hope it's really good. Because I'd love a game, something like that, where you can just tune in for an hour before bed and just wander around and make friends.
Make friends with the filthy hobbit thing.
Yeah.
Filthy hobbits.
You're actually really good at that.
I don't know.
Where has that talent come
I
from?
don't know. No idea.
Wow.
But yeah, if you want me for any voiceover acting, I
There you
will
go.
happily sign up.
Gollum right here.
But
What was the 4th one on your list?
the 4th one was The Adventure of Link.
You mean The Legend of Link?
The Legend, what did I call it?
The Adventure of Link.
It's not The Adventure of Link.
No. It's
The Zelda game where you actually play as Mrs. Zelda.
Mrs. Zelda. Let me...
Is she married?
No.
Oh.
She's a princess.
Ms.
Ms. Zelda.
Zelda R. Regina. Is that...
The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
What's her
That's the
surname?
name. What?
What's her surname?
Zelda.
What's her first name? Margaret.
Or is it actually, maybe Zelda is her first name?
Zelda's her first name. That's the name of
Yeah.
what's his name's daughter. Wasn't it Bill? Wasn't it no? What's the name of the? Was it Terry Pratchett's daughter called Zelda?
Yeah. Yes. No.
David Bowie.
No. Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, Williams.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, that's right. Same person. But Legend of Zelda. Yeah. So Legend of Zelda is an action adventure, but it includes person called Zelda. But what's her real name? Princess Zelda.
So, well, the king of Hyrule, at least in Breath of the Wild, is King Roam Bosphoramos. So does that mean Zelda is Zelda Bosphoramos?
Zelda's role. Yeah, but what is her name? Here we go. Concept creation. You keep talking because you know about the Zeldas and that.
Well,
I'll find out.
Princess, I'm also looking up Princess Zelda full name.
Mm-hmm. Her
Zelda Hyrule.
Zelda Hyrule.
Yeah. With an unknown middle name, apparently.
Margaret. That's
Yeah, she's always just Princess Zelda.
Zelda Hyrule.
Anyway, this is called Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
The Kingdom of Hyrule, the Hyrule family.
Well, exactly.
We are the Kingdom of Windsor.
Zelda Hyrule. There we go. Why did I not say that a minute ago? That's really obvious.
Wow.
Anyway.
Well, Hyrule's the place as well.
Well, yes, because it's named after the royal family.
Oh, God. Down with them.
No.
Down with the monarchy.
No, because this time, at long last, we get to play as Zelda. Now, it's not the first time she's ever been playable.
I wondered because I saw a few things and I was like, I bet people are going to actually.
Well, actually, she is playable in the Warriors games, so the Hyrule Warriors games.
That's not a proper
but
game,
that's
though, is it?
not a mainline Zelda game. That is a Warriors game, and she fights and she has magic and she is super OP and it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first mainline Zelda game where she is playable as the main
And
protagonist.
she's the main protagonist, yeah.
So it's not just, oh, it's a side bit. No. She's the protagonist.
I love
this
that
is
we
her adventure.
I love that we were all wondering whether that would be what happens in Tears of the Kingdom for a while. Everyone's like, do you think maybe that's what they're going to do that's different?
Yeah.
No, but they're doing it.
They've been threatening it for a long time.
It looks really pretty. I cannot believe how stacked this direct was after, like, at the end of a console.
Yeah. There's literally a year left to this console, and yet we're still getting great stuff.
Mm.
So it is in the style of the Link's Awakening remake, and there are a lot of theories that this is the same world map as A Link to the Past. So people are suspecting, well, did this start off as a remake of Link to the Past, and then they've tweaked it, stuff like that. The trailer begins with Zelda in the crystal, in a purple crystal, which is like the end of Ocarina of Time. And then Link gets sucked into this weird portal, and his final thing is to fire an arrow at the crystal so it shatters. And so now you have to play as Zelda saving Link.
But what about if it's actually like a double pack, and the other game, when Link disappears, he goes to the past?
I mean, I don't know if they'll do that. But this is playable Zelda. Now, the thing is, she doesn't fight, which I love because she has the Triforce of Wisdom. So she uses her wisdom as opposed to her courage or her power in order to fight.
Not in this one. She has a tri-rod.
She does have a tri-rod.
I've got a tri-rod as well.
I bet you do.
That's what you call me.
No. She meets a fairy called Tri. Good. Who gives her the tri-rod, which is obviously the power of the Triforce, clearly.
Tripod.
And essentially, she can make echoes of things, hence the title Echoes of Wisdom.
I really like the name.
She can copy and paste.
I really like the name of that.
Yeah. So essentially, she'll be copy and pasting to solve puzzles. So she can copy a piece of furniture, say a bed or a chair, and then she can paste that somewhere again and again in order to build up things to solve puzzles. And the interface for that looks very similar to the fuse in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. The way that she can access this whole line of different things that she's copied, which feels like an extension of that a little bit. I like
that a lot. And I love that you can do, and it, like you're saying that, yeah, you can, there are many ways to solve a puzzle. And I love that. And that reminded me very much of Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. Maybe even more than Breath of the Wild, because Tears of the Kingdom, you can just do batshit stuff that, like I needed to get to the top of a tower. And I just got about 20 pieces of wood stuck together and then climbed it up it. Just like leant it against the tower. It was definitely not the way I was meant to do it. And I was like, no, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And
so I'm intrigued to see like how they're tweaking the sort of building mechanics and fusing stuff into a 2D Zelda game and how open that will be. I'm really intrigued by that. But instead of fighting, you can then copy enemies and then summon them to like fight each other. So now there's loads of fan art going around of people, you know, saying that she's going to copy the cuckoos and summon them for people and things like that. It looks really cool. It's really cute. I am very, very excited.
And that's this year, right?
Let me double check.
I thought it was.
Yes, 26th of September.
That's soon.
Very. So I'm very excited about that.
That's in like 3 months. That's like 13 weeks.
Yeah. I know.
13 weeks, and we're getting a brand new Zelda.
I know.
I said I do really like the name of it as well.
Echoes of Wisdom. There was one other thing that opened that was definitely a surprise, and I'm very happy about.
That Donkey Kong.
And I want to get the name right. Mario and Luigi Brothership. Now, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga was a Game Boy Advance game, which I have. And it's really cool. It is sort of a spin-off extension of the Mario RPGs where you have turn-based combat. And essentially you play it on a Game Boy, but one button is Mario and one button is Luigi. So you press like them to jump or do attacks and you always use the same buttons for it. So it's like you're controlling both brothers at once. And this is a new game in that series. There have been other ones as well. This is a brand new one, but in the Switch, fully 3D. It feels like they've re-released Paper Mario and a Super Mario RPG to sort of lead towards this new game, which is less of an RPG, but
It looked
you
like there
control
had so
both.
many different mechanics in the game from
Yeah.
that trailer. Like I was like, oh, do they know what they're doing here?
It's all about how you pair up the brothers and control them separately but together, which is really cool. So that is definitely something to keep an eye out on. But the big one, the best thing in it,
Donkey Kong.
no. As much as that, I'm sure will be great.
Mm.
I'm just.
I mean, it's a remaster. It's not a. Oh, it's an HD remaster. It's not really a remake.
It is, and I rage quit the last one. The big thing, Metroid Prime 4. Beyond. It exists. It finally is here. It's a thing, and it's coming out next year. We got a proper look at it with some gameplay, which I don't want to say was underwhelming because I'm very excited.
Were
about
you
it.
whelmed?
I was slightly whelmed, only because it looks like Metroid Prime, and that's fine. I think what I'm hoping for is that there's some sort of twist to it. Metroid Prime was the first 3D Metroid game. It established what those do. It is one of the best games ever made. 2 then had a twist to it where you have a dark and a light world. And 3 had a bit of a twist where you go to different planets. You're not just on one. And it was a little bit more narrative focused. So I'm kind of like, well, what are they doing with this one? Is this going to be back to Prime 1 and similar but different world?
PvP.
I don't know. It just sort of
Multiplayer
looks
only.
like more Metroid Prime. But it looks beautiful. And also, Metroid Prime is so good that just anything in that world is incredible. So the fact that we got to see any of it was a huge surprise. It's coming out next year. So they'd originally said that the Direct was only games from this year.
There were a few,
But then there were a few that are next year. But there's still, because we know the Switch 2 is coming next year, there's a bit of like, is this going to be a crossover game in the way that Breath of the Wild was with the Wii U and the Switch?
It's
Is that
definitely
what
coming
Metroid
out on
Prime
the
is gonna
Switch
be?
because it said it in the corner. Because I actually went
Yeah.
back and was like, "Is it going to come out on Switch?"
Yeah, it's got the Switch logo
Yeah.
in the corner. So I'm just happy that we get Metroid. I fucking love the Metroid games. So the fact that it exists and it's coming is just so good. I'm very happy.
I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. I didn't faint like the man in the Nintendo store in New York.
I don't think he fainted either. I think he just needed a bit of attention.
Probably. But I'm very excited. So
Good.
that was the big thing for me.
I just find it so weird because it's a shoot 'em up and
It's not a shoot 'em up.
you got a gun
It's a
and there are
first-person
enemies,
adventure that happens to have shooting
like
in it.
Viewfinder.
Sure.
Oh, you shooting Viewfinder as well.
Well, there you go.
Like a photo shoot. Get it?
The Metro games are like Zelda, but sci-fi.
yeah.
In that it's about exploring and gaining new items and solving puzzles.
Good. Hope you enjoy it.
Good.
I just the more I play, the more I realize I don't think Metroidvanias are for me. They're just
Okay.
not for me. But I hope you enjoy it.
They are definitely for me.
Good. Well, it's nice to not like every game that the other one likes.
Sure.
It's good to have a bit of a variety.
You enjoy your racing games.
I love my racing games. I was tempted to download FIFA today.
That's not a racing game.
EA
Ben.
Sports. I know, but it's a sports game that you hate.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it. The news.
That is everything.
Finally. Right. Thank you very much for watching. Ed, where can we find you?
You can find me at ed_nights on Twitch and on Twitter.
And you can find me at Biggest Menace everywhere. Biggest Menace on Twitch, Biggest Menace on YouTube if you want to catch my Let's Play of Elden Ring and also Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That'll be getting popped up there. And yeah, I've got lots of Let's Plays to get through, so I really need to kind of buckle down a bit. But next week is my birthday. Oh, my birthday's on the Thursday. So we'll record it on the Wednesday before, but we'll put it out on the Friday as usual. But we're at TwitchCon.
I was going to say the week after that will then be a little TwitchCon recap, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm going to be knackered.
Yep.
But yeah, any plans for the week?
I'm going to a thing tomorrow.
Are you not allowed to say what?
No.
I think I
But I'm
told
very
everyone on
excited
stream.
about it. And then
Did you tell everyone on stream?
no.
I think you did.
No.
Oh.
I don't think I did.
I think you did.
And then I'm going to an award show. the evening.
okay. I thought it was the award show that
There
was
you
the
go.
secret thing.
I'm going to an award show, which is the MCV Awards, which is for like media.
The MTV Awards. Very nice.
MCV. So I'm going to that tomorrow night. Is that
Very nice. So I'll expect you back like 3 a.m. pissed out of your mind.
Maybe not.
We'll see. Nice. And then there's nothing really this weekend, just gaming.
Lots of
Because we've
gaming.
got so much planned, it's going to be nice to just sit around and game.
Yeah.
But yeah, go to swappingjoysticks.com if you want to check out our previous ones. We're going to be doing a video soon.
Well, he says, looking at me.
Yeah, you need to add to this document for this video.
Yes.
But look out for that because that will be out at the end of July and it'll be the first of a new bunch of things. So yeah, have fun. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and Ed will come around and give you a shoulder rub.
And be nice.
And yeah, leave a review if you're listening on iTunes, not iTunes, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It allows you to rate things, to
Give
rate
us
it.
a high rating. I like.
I think,
I
we've got 5 out of 5 on everything. But very lucky. But thank you very much for if you have or if you're going to. But feel free to write one as well. Write about why you like it, because I think that kind of bumps up the algorithm and stuff.
Nice.
Anyway, have a good one.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.